vapors, we need a certain temperature. So by adding of non-volatile solute particles, the liquid particles are converted into vapors. The temperature is going to be towards very high temperatures. Means by adding of non-volatile solute particles, the vapor pressure going to be very low. When the vapor pressure is very low, automatically the boiling point is gradually increases. Means by the adding of the solute particles, non-volatile solute particles, we can increase the boiling point of the solution. When a non-volatile solute added to the liquid, vapor pressure of the liquid is reduced. Hence, it must be heated to higher temperature in order to that its vapor pressure becomes to atmospheric pressure. This means that addition of non-volatile solute to a liquid elevates its boiling point. So by the graph we can easily explain the elevation in boiling point. Let us take a graph, vapor pressure versus temperature. The first line, so that is the atmospheric pressure, that is 1 atmosphere. In the pure solvent means pure solvent. When the pure solvent takes, if we try to increase the temperature, automatically vapor pressure increases. That vapor pressure is going to be equal at this point. When the take solution, means we have to add the non-volatile solute to the solvent, that is going to be solution. When the adding of non-volatile solute, so here this is the second graph. Temperature increases automatically. This is the graph of the solution. So T0B is the pure solvent boiling point. TB is the solution after the adding of non-volatile solute particles. TB is the boiling point of the solution. So let T0 be the boiling point of pure solvent. TB is the boiling point of the solution. So the increase in boiling point delta TB is equal TB minus T0B is known as elevation in boiling point. So for dilute solution, the elevation in boiling point is directly proportional to the molar concentration of the solute particles. Yes or no? So elevation in boiling point depends upon the number of non-volatile solute particles added to that solution. So it depends upon the how much molar concentration which we are going to add it. He decided the elevation in boiling point. Means elevation in boiling point is directly proportional to the molar concentration of the solution, means molality. So delta TB is equal to Kb into M. Here Kb is molar elevation constant and it is also called as ebullioscopic constant. So this is the, so by the equation of this one, we can easily identify the how much amount of non-volatile solute particles where we are added to the solution. We can easily determine by this equation. M is equal to 1000 into W2 by M2 by W1. So by this equation we can easily determine the molar mass of the solute which is present in the solution. So this is Ebullience constant. This is the second property of the colligative properties. Next, third property is depression in freezing point. Depression in freezing point. Let us know the definition of the freezing point. The temperature at which there exists an equilibrium between solid state vapors pressures and liquid vapor pressure are equal, called as a freezing point. Freezing point means at the temperature at which there is a equilibrium exists between the solid state and liquid state. At that equilibrium state, the vapor pressure of the solid phase and vapor pressure of the liquid phase are equal. At that point is called as freezing point. So when I take a non-volatile solid is added to the solvent, the vapor pressure automatically decreases. So when the vapor pressure automatically decreases, it is lower the freezing point. Freezing point means it can easily lower the temperature of the solution. Temperature of the solution. So let us take one graph. In that graph again vapor pressure versus temperature. The first case we take first pure solvent, means pure solvent in frozen means solid state. As the temperature increases at a certain point, it is converted into liquid solvent. So this is the first graph. The second graph, if you add the non-volatile solid to the solvent, so this is the second graph. This is the second graph. So by the graph, the depression in freezing point depends upon the again number of non-volatile solute molecules rather than nature of the solute. So it is obviously it is going to be again colligative properties. So T naught F is the freezing point of the pure solvent and Tf is the freezing point of the non-volatile solute dissolved in the solution. So delta Tf is the decrease in difference between the freezing point, that is delta T naught F is equal to T naught F minus T of is known as depression in freezing point. So for dilute solutions again depression in freezing point is directly proportional to the mole concentration of the solution. So delta Tf is directly proportional to M, means molality. So delta Tf is equal to Kf into M. Here Kf is called as molar depression constant. Molar depression constant or cryoscopic constant So some of the examples of the freezing point depression, the freezing point of seawater at below 0 degrees it remains as a liquid. Freezing point of pure water, it is caused by salt that are dissolved in water. So in seawater at 0 degrees remains as liquid because of seawater contains non-volatile solute particles as salts. So at below 0 degrees Celsius seawater is in the form of liquid. This is the best example of depression in freezing point by the adding of the salts. Another example of freezing point is vodka or ethanol in water. So when we are adding the ethanol means we can add to the water, the freezing point is lower than the water, so higher than the pure ethanols. So it is also best example for depression in freezing point. So these are the examples for the depression in. What is the use of freezing point? Depression in freezing point, when the cold areas where the temperature range from 0 to minus 15 Celsius degrees sodium chloride is added to the freezing point of the water to prevent a build-up ice. So in order to lower the freezing point of the water in cold areas, means Atlantic and Arctic snow areas, so we can prevent the build-up of the ice. Okay. Next, if the temperature is below 18 Celsius degrees temperature, so calcium chloride is used instead of sodium chloride in the melt of ice on the roads. So because of the calcium chloride dissociates into ions, causing the greater in depression point of the water. Next, so if you take the radiator in cold areas, the radiator water actually at 0 degrees Celsius temperature, it is going to be, water is going to be converted into solid. To remove the conversion of liquid into solid of the water in cold radiators of the cars, we can use ethylene glycol plus water. So it prevents the freezing of the radiator during the cold areas. Means in the cold seasons, in the cold areas, in the cars we are using the radiators. In that radiators we are only use the pure water, but the pure water at 0 degrees Celsius converted into solid. So we have to decrease the freezing point. But water freezes at 0, so we have to decrease, means we have to go into the minuses. So for to get the freezing of water, we have to add the ethylene glycol to the water. So it cannot going to be converted into solid at 0 degrees Celsius temperatures by the adding of ethylene glycol. So these are the best examples of the freezing point depression. Next, last property is osmosis or osmotic pressure. So before going to that, we have to know the definition of the osmosis. So simple definition here, let us take two chambers. One is you have to take as one chamber is called as a salt water, means it is a solution, means here solvent and solute particles are mixed. That solution is called as a salt water. This part, green part, is called as a solution. From right side, if you take pure solvent, means fresh water, pure water means solvent, pure solvent. Here is pure solvent, green side is solution. So water, pure water and solution, between these two different types of pure solvent and solution, we have to put the semi-permeable membrane. This semi-permeable membrane is allowed to pass the pure solvent water particles passing through the semi-permeable membrane. So here pure water means pure solvent has the higher concentration, salt water means it has the lower concentration. So when the flow of pure solvent from high concentration to lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane until the concentration of the solvent in the both chambers becomes to equal, this process is known as osmosis. So when we allow the pure water, means pure solvent water, to this semi-permeable membrane, so it is slowly flow from high concentration to low concentrations, means it is going to be, when it is going to be stopped, the solvent concentration in the both chambers going to be equal, then only the flow of the solvent is going to be stopped. So this process, this phenomena is called as osmosis. So here, what is the osmotic pressure? Here, this is the important point we are going to discuss in this point. So the net flow of the solvent can be stopped by applied by the some external pressure over the solution is called as the osmotic pressure. So here we take the pure solvent and another side we take the solution. So solvent particles are slowly flowing towards solution. So to stop the flow of the pure solvent, we have to use the external pressure on the solution. So by the using of external pressure on the solution, we have to stop the flow of the pure solvent. This pressure, this external pressure is called as a osmotic pressure. This external pressure is called as a osmotic pressure. It is represented with pi. So according to this phenomena is is delivered by the Van 't Hoff. So he delivered an equation, Van 't Hoff equation. According to Van 't Hoff equation, pi means osmotic pressure is directly proportional to the concentration of the solute. Directly proportional to the concentration of the solute means and temperature. So osmotic pressure is equal to C means concentration of the solution, R means solution constant, T is temperature. Pi is equal to M is molality. Concentration we have to calculate in molality and R into T. So this is the Van 't Hoff equation. So when you try to identify the how much of solute particles present in the solution, we have to know the another equation, that is pi is equal to W means weight, RT by M means molar mass into V. This is the definition to determine the how much of amount of solute present in the solution. So again, osmotic pressure is again depends upon the number of particles, solute particles present in the solution. So according to Van 't Hoff equation, the osmotic pressure depends only upon the molar concentration of the solute, is again independent of the nature of the solute. So this is Van 't Hoff equation. So osmosis the best examples also have to discuss here. The best example, transport of water in plants. So when the plants roots are dipped in the soil, so in that soil, if the plants absorb the water, that process is called as osmosis. This is the best example for the osmosis. Next, to function of the kidneys. So what is the function of the kidneys? Purify the blood. So by the absorption of the water from the blood cells, it can easily purify the blood. So function of kidneys is one of the best example for osmosis, osmotic pressure. So by this last colligative property, osmotic pressure, we end the colligative properties topic. So in this topic we are discussed the most important 4 types of colligative properties. One is relative lowering in vapor pressure, second one is elevation in boiling point, third one is depression in freezing point, fourth one is osmotic pressure. So these all colligative properties, by the adding of the solute, non-volatile solute particles, they are going to be changes. So these all properties again depends upon the number of solute particles present in the solution, not nature of the solute. So thank you.